Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm so happy to be here. I was asked to share what I've learned in my last 19 years in autism research, and I also have a background of 38 years in holistic health and studying the brain as a craniosacral therapist. So I know that there are a lot of parents who wonder what can be done for children with autism, and I'm here to tell you there are many solutions, and I've helped thousands of people around the world. So I actually have a slideshow that I'm going to go ahead and start with just to give you an overview, because I have something called the 4 stages to naturally recover from the symptoms of autism, and they are going to get you the optimum results because there are so many missing pieces that parents don't find in their search when they're trying to recover their child. And it was my own story. So let me share this with you real briefly. I think it'll be helpful. So this is the 4 stages to naturally recover from the symptoms of autism. And my name is Karen Thomas. And during this event, you're going to learn strategies for improving your child's communication, things that you can do to increase your child's confidence and participation in activities, help your child focus better, improve sleep, facilitating calmer moods, stronger immune system, because I know they might be sick a lot, improve your child's digestive function, that's a big one with autism, and helped you to save a lot of time and expense that I know I spent and I see a lot of other parents spending that are unnecessary, and help you streamline what needs to happen. Because I'm here to really offer you the clarity and more confidence and support, because I know also getting support on the autism journey is a challenge for many people. And I've already successfully taught my framework to over 25,000 parents worldwide and with immense success. So when your child is diagnosed with autism, you think, or you might have even been told, that it's for life, right? That's just the way it is. Well, I'm here to tell you that's wrong. And it's good that it's wrong because there are natural solutions. And I have found them, and I'm going to share them with you. Every child's level of recovery is different because we're all unique. Of course, this is for educational purposes here, but I believe anyone can improve at any age because I've seen it happen hundreds of times with parents I've shared it with, and with my own son, actually with thousands of parents that I've shared it with worldwide now. It's not a lack of commitment on your part, it's a lack of the right knowledge and the lack of the right guidance. And this is where we're led astray a lot. So statistics show you that the rate of autism recovery often exceeds 50% better when a parent has implemented the interventions. That means your education is key to your child's success. And that's why you're here learning, because what I have to share with you and what you have looked for everywhere is going to help you with what your success rate will be for your child. So first, let me explain who I am and how I came to all of this discovery and this strategy. I'm a nationally board certified instructor and practitioner of craniosacral therapy. That means that we study the bones of the head, work on the bones of the head to balance the brain. So I had studied for the brain and craniosacral therapy for actually over 32 years now. And I have over 18 years of autism research under my belt, and I was actually named as top autism specialist of the decade. Most importantly, I'm a mom with a son who no longer suffers from these symptoms of autism and that he used to struggle with. 19 years ago, actually, because he's now 29, my son Jacob was diagnosed with autism almost at the age of 10. And of course, there were a lot of experts, so-called experts, and they told me, well, you can't really do much except manage his symptoms. You should just drug him, try behavioral therapies, and good luck. That's just the way it's going to be. Well, my background in holistic health and doing things naturally, and also my education in studying the brain, let me know that the brain can and does heal. And it's a scientific fact. And so I knew that that could happen. And I didn't want to drug my son and with all of the negative side effects and just basically numb him and turn him into a zombie. I wanted to let him be who he was, to let him excel in life and to be happy and healthy. So I decided that I was going to research this for myself. And I did, and it took me about a decade to figure it out. But once I implemented everything and went through all the strategies, my son's symptoms went from, being constant anxiety and inability to sit in a classroom and difficulty focusing and irritability and even aggression, oppositional defiance disorder on top of chronic headaches and stomach aches and everything else was going on to, worrying about his future of what would happen to him someday when I'm not around anymore. I know that's a big concern for all of us, right? We want to know, how is our child going to be, or who's going to care for them when we're not here someday? And that's a big scary piece for us. Who's going to take care of him? What about my other child? Could we afford everything, right? These all run through our head. And sound familiar? I'm sure that you have been dealing with it yourself. Well, you've tried different practitioners, spent hours researching therapies, thrown away countless amounts of money on things that didn't work, and then you've grown frustrated with seeing no or little to no results. This is a big story for all of us. Well, I'm here to tell you, brains do heal. And again, I had researched the brain for over a decade by the time that my son was diagnosed with autism, but autism is very, very specific. So I had to figure out what I could do for autism specifically. What were the pieces? There are underlying biological causes for the symptoms of autism, and they can be worked with. And they can be worked with naturally, also drug free. You don't have to do all of these invasive things that you're being told. And it took me over a decade to implement, and my trial and error paid off. And you can do it much faster than me. I didn't have a plan, but I'm going to offer you that. This led my son to go from wild to calm and happy, to not sleeping well, to sleeping peacefully through the night, going from D's and F's in school when we knew he was brilliant to now his normal A's and B's and being able to focus in a classroom and learn. And it stayed that way all the way through college. He now has a college degree, a bachelor degree in college. He lived over 1,000 miles away from me in college. He now lives fully independently with one of his best friends. He has great friends. He's happy. He's healthy, independent, fully even financially independent. He has a great full-time job. And all of those things that I feared about in his childhood are now no longer. And every child's level of recovery is different, but I'm here to show you what the missing pieces are and why you may have been falling short of results in the past. So today, this is Meet Jacob. I spent over $150,000 and over 15 years really figuring it out now to share this knowledge with you. And it's because of my love and honor for him that I forged ahead. And I think, what if I had listened to the naysayers, those negative people who were telling me I just should drug him and do, behavioral therapies were all that there could be done. Well, there are some underlying causes that need to be worked with, or those therapies, those big expensive therapies, aren't going to be able to work as well. So once I had such success with Jacob, I knew that I had to teach what I had learned to other parents, because I know that you're struggling with the things that I had gone through myself. I absolutely get it. Whether you're new to the autism journey or you've been on it for years, and whether your child is 5 or 45, this can be beneficial at any age, and I can guide you to the best results. It doesn't matter what age. This mom says, my son's happier, calmer, and laughing again, something he hadn't done for a long time. He's talking more and more, connectivity is happening, and it's so encouraging. Now, this part is what is something to really listen to. Bear in mind, this was a child who was diagnosed as very severe 6 years ago, and we were told he would not speak. And now he's speaking, he's happy. These are the kinds of things I see over and over with my programs. And this has helped, this mom says, helped me restore my belief that I can recover my child alongside you. And again, recovering him to his optimum results, whatever that may be for him. But if you do my 4-stage process, you'll understand. Better sleep, improved speech and communication, attention and focus abilities, friendships and social engagement, regulating emotions and moods, decreased anxiety and more calmness, improving digestion. It's what we want for our children. Let's start with an overview. I have processed this into set this up in a 4-stage process. And it's what I find that is my naturally recovering autism program now. Stage 1 is healing the gut. Stage 2 is natural heavy metal detoxification. Stage 3 is clearing the co-infections of autism. And stage 4 is brain support and repair. The gut sets the foundation for overall health. This is stage 1. We want to make sure anything we start with has a stable, strong foundation, right? Why is healing the gut so important? Studies show the gut directly affects the brain and the immune system. The brain's messengers, called neurotransmitters, are made in the gut, so it must be working properly, or things like mood, sleep, appetite, and focus cannot work well. And the gut needs to be healthy to absorb the nutrition from the food that they're eating. Sometimes your child might actually maybe be on a nutritious diet, but their body's not able to absorb the nutrition from it. The gut makes up 80% of the immune system as well. So your child's health has a lot to do with their gut. Dietary changes are very important, but there are underlying causes that are contributing to it not getting better. Your child's gut lining is damaged with holes in it, which are known as leaky gut. This is from different things, and one of them is candida overgrowth and inflammation and other toxins. And this allows undigested food particles to get into the bloodstream, where the immune system sees them as an invasion and reacts, causing allergies and autoimmune responses. So your child might be allergic to things that they once were not, and you wonder why. Well, this is why. Toxins also get into the blood and make their way to the brain, causing inflammation, which leads to things like food allergies, poor sleep, aggression, anxiety, inability to think clearly and focus, speech issues, mood instability, headaches, GI problems, constipation, diarrhea, and even more. Bad bacteria in the gut, like candida and parasites, love sugar. It's the food that they thrive on, so it has to go. Yes, all sugar has to go. You can use a little bit of fruit in moderation, but if you are overdoing anything sugary, including processed hot carbohydrates, which turn to sugar in the body, then you're feeding the candida and the bad bacteria. There is much to do, but we begin with the right diet. And why is that? Because it starves out the candida, because they need that sugar to thrive on. So if we take out those bad foods and the bad sugars, then the candida doesn't have what it needs, and it starts to die, which is what we want. This also is eliminating the inflammatory and toxic foods by having the right proper diet. And so what harms the gut besides bad foods? Environmental toxins like glyphosate, weed killer, which is sprayed on a lot of food crops. Pathogens such as candida, parasites, and viruses. Heavy metal toxins like mercury, antibiotics, co-infections like mold biotoxins and Lyme disease. So I'm going to give you a link here to my free food guide. If you're watching this on screen, you can even copy the QR code or take a screenshot of this. If you're listening to it in audio, I'll give it to you now. It's easy to remember. autismcheatsheet.com. That'll give you the link to my free food guide. And this is going to be helping the immune system and all of these things that I mentioned. But it's also going to help you identify the harmful foods so that you can remove them from your child's diet, give you some smart food choices so you know what your child can eat, because I know that's also a question, and practical implementation, because there is a guide in this as well that will give you some help for picky eaters and how to get some nutrition in. I even give you some links to some resources. So again, it's at autismcheatsheet.com is my free food guide that you can get anytime. Be patient, because yes, it takes time. But to be aware of die-off, as I mentioned, as those candida start to die off, even from diet changes alone, we can experience sometimes some increased behaviors, because that's increasing the toxic load in your child's body. But so you might see things like increased behaviors of anger, aggression, anxiety, flu-like symptoms, fevers, rashes, fatigue, reduction in speech, and you're thinking, I thought this was going to make my child better. or a worse ability to focus, or even sleep issues. So some things that we can do along the way are add in some toxin binders, and they'll help to reduce these die-off symptoms. Because as your child's body already has weakened detoxification pathways, we need to support their body as they're detoxifying more toxins out of the body. And one of the ways you can do that are through toxin binders. There are a few that I use in my program, but I'm just going to mention one here that's easy to go to a health food store and get, and it's activated charcoal. And you want to give this away from food. And if it comes in capsule form, you can open it up and even mix it in. If your child won't take it in water, you can mix it in with just a little bit of like some unsweetened applesauce or a tiny bit of food or something to just get it in. You just want to keep it away from any large meals because we don't want it working on the food that is in the body. We want it just working on the toxins. So it's going to help sop up some of those extra toxins and help the child's body and your body to remove those toxins more easily. And here is what some parents have said about the right diet. My son was very hyper all the time. However, ever since I started him on Karen's diet, he's calmed down completely. This was 12 days now. Every child is different. And this mom said, was 12 days. So I wanted to share. And of course, timelines vary per individual. So watch for any changes, even subtle ones. Second stage is natural heavy metal detoxification. And there's a reason why I say natural, and I'll talk about that in a moment. So it's crucial to get rid of these heavy metals that are affecting the brain, the neurological system, the gut, and our overall health. And the big four are mercury, aluminum, cadmium, and lead. Why heavy metal detoxification is so important. It strengthens the immune system and strengthens the body's ability to fight candida. It helps prevent seizures, balances hormones to calm moods and improve sleep, improves digestion, supports those brain messengers like serotonin and dopamine that help us keep moods calm, help our sleep, social engagement, and all of these things as well. Some symptoms of heavy metal toxicity you might notice are learning disabilities, speech and language issues, depression, poor memory, problems with social engagement, GI gastrointestinal problems like constipation, diarrhea, a lot of aggressive and even violent behavior, and obsessive compulsive disorder is very common as well. Now, I mentioned safe and natural heavy metal detoxification, and that's versus the harmful pharmaceutical drug called DMSA, which is what you will get if you go to a practitioner's office. So I'm going to give you the link to something that I use because parents always ask, but just so you know, the DMSA has a lot of negative side effects. It will allow for reabsorption of those toxins back into the body as the body's trying to excrete them. And it will also pull out good minerals like calcium and magnesium. So if you go to naturallyrecoveringautism.com/HM for heavy metal, I'll give you, there's an interview I did there with the owner of the company whose product that I use. It's a safe natural spray. You can see the scientific studies on it and a link to purchase it with my discount code if that's something you're interested in. But I wanted to give you the resource because when I do these presentations, everybody always asks, well, what do you use instead? So here is the link again, naturallyrecoveringautism.com/HM for heavy metal. And this will give you, again, a safe, natural product that removes those toxins and heavy metals without taking anything good out of the body and not allowing reabsorption. One parent shared, we've been on Karen's heavy metal detox with Karen's guidance for 4 days. And the first 2 days, I noticed a real increase in his bad behavior. But today I'm seeing positive changes, more clarity, and better understanding of what I say to him. Now, stage 3 is one of the most missed pieces in autism recovery, and it's clearing the co-infections. So what are these co-infections? Testing for them, first of all, is very unreliable. So you often get negative results when your child is actually positive, and if found, they're commonly treated improperly. So again, ineffectively. And most pharmaceutical treatments can cause your child more harm. The first one I'll talk about is mold biotoxicity. Mold damages the brain, and it is a genetic predisposition in over 29% of the world population. And the secondary name for the mold biotoxin illness, or the mycotoxins, is CIRS, which is chronic inflammatory response syndrome. It causes a cascade of inflammation in the body as the body is trying to fight it, but the body can't. So it has to be treated properly and safely. Some of the things you might notice: depression, anxiety, lack of mental clarity, chronic fatigue, digestive issues. This is very harmful to the gut, motor and nerve disturbances, and sleep disorders. And it can be one of the reasons why your child's not getting better. Lyme disease, it's estimated that close to 100% of children with autism have Lyme, and it goes either undetected or is treated improperly. And Lyme mimics many of the symptoms of autism. You might see things like attention deficit disorder, ADD, learning difficulties, obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD, depression, fever, flu-like symptoms, anger, and really rageful anger comes from Lyme. Tantrums, increase in oppositional behavior, abdominal pain, headaches, and it also damages the gut. Parasites, another really big issue with autism, and most people with or without autism have parasitic infections that are going undetected because most tests are unreliable. And looking for symptoms such as number one symptom really is constipation. A lot of people don't think about that because diarrhea can be another symptom of it, depending on what kind of parasite it is. Itchy skin, anger, and really crazy wild type behaviors. Brain fog and difficulty thinking, chronic fatigue, sinus issues, diarrhea, again, mouthing and nail biting is common. Drooling and teeth grinding is another one to look for. So symptoms are a better guide than an actual test, and symptoms aren't costing you any money. Now, parasites have to be eradicated with Lyme treatment because Lyme lives inside of parasites, so we don't want to kill off its host, the parasite, without also working with the Lyme at the same time, or we could end up with a big Lyme infection that is getting expansive. Now, something that triggers an autoimmune reaction called PANS, or pediatric autoimmune neuropsychiatric syndrome, besides possible strep infections, streptococcal infections, is when mold and Lyme are huge triggers for PANS. And that is because they trigger the immune system to have an overreaction, and they're so challenging on the body. So when you see a sudden onset of oppositional of OCD, or tics and motor tics, separation anxiety or fearfulness, they get fearful and clingy. They're afraid to do things. They have a decline in school. Bedwetting is really common, especially, over the age of 3 or 5, and they're still bedwetting. You think, what's going on? So they're having this PANS reaction, and it's again caused by an underlying autoimmune issue that is often triggered by one of these underlying co-infections I mentioned. You might see, again, aggression and morbid thoughts and behaviors, overly emotional. But this sudden onset of OCD and anxiety is very, very common. The co-infections are why a child may plateau on the autism recovery journey, and because the gut and brain cannot heal from the inflammation and harm that they're doing. They often go undetected, and most programs do not thoroughly cover them, if at all, so they are missed and important steps get left out, leaving you short of the optimum results. A lot of parents have worked for years and think, I've done so much, why is my child not getting better? And it's because one of the stages has been missed. So you can see how I go through the different symptoms for many things and how they overlap. So it's very important to work with all 4 stages so that you don't miss anything important. So your child will, if you don't, your child will continue to be ill physically and emotionally. The good news is that yes, we can work with these naturally and safely. This is especially important because most of these co-infections are antibiotic resistant. And what do you generally get at the doctor? Antibiotics, that's all they know. They often don't work, and they can cause your child more harm. So what happens when it's done right? So here is what a few of the parents in my roadmap have shared. I've just started to see slow changes in my son within the last month. The house has some peace, and we're not having to deal with everyday drama. Wouldn't that be nice? Another parent says, my son is responding well and his anxiety, OCD, his most prominent symptoms are much improved. In only over a month of being on the detox in your program, he is also sleeping much better. Now, lastly, we do brain support and repair, and this is stage 4. And people say, well, wouldn't we want to do therapies and things early on? Well, if the brain is really inflamed, then your child's not able to carry out the tasks asked of them. It can be very hard on their self-esteem, and you're not being able to get as much out of them because they're not capable. We've got to work with these underlying toxins and co-infections first so that they can do more. And many children like my own never ever needed to go back to therapies after we went through this process of working with the underlying root causes. So again, it's a scientific fact, brains do heal, but only if it's getting the right nutrition, the right support, and it's not being invaded by toxins and inflammation. Another thing to always make sure of is that your home is mold free. A lot of people have mold in their home and they don't realize it, or they do realize it, but don't realize how harmful it is to everyone's health, especially a child with autism. It can be a reason why your child doesn't get well. We know therapies are very expensive. They actually account for the greatest expense. So why waste your resources on them when your child's brain is too toxic and inflamed to get the most out of them? Plus, it's hard on the kid's self-esteem, as it was on my son. So some kids, like my son, again, never needed to go back to those therapies after I implemented these 4 stages with him. So again, we go back to all we need to do: balance the candida and heal up leaky gut, eliminate the toxins from heavy metals, and clear the co-infections. Then we can do brain support therapies like neurofeedback and craniosacral. Actually, craniosacral therapy is one therapy that can be done from the beginning, anytime. It can be very, very beneficial. If you go to my website at naturallyrecoveringautism.com and you just type in craniosacral, I've got a podcast and a post there for you with some links to find a qualified educated practitioner near where you live. They're worldwide. And then also we can offer the brain some natural, safe support supplements, not drugs. These things help improve mood, speech, immunity, digestion, sleep, food, focus and concentration, social engagement, and so much more. We really want our kids to be healthy and happy. But as you can see, it's never just one thing, right? It makes sense. All of these things that we need to do, many of the symptoms overlap, and our kids usually have all of them. So again, we are looking at healing the gut, natural heavy metal detoxification, clearing the co-infections of autism, and brain support and repair. So all must be worked with. You see, it makes sense, right? And I can help you with all 4 stages. And I do this worldwide. I have a membership program where I help parents worldwide in all 4 stages. But I want you to know that the very first stage is to begin with the diet. And again, if you haven't grabbed the link to my free food guide yet, please grab it now. If you're watching on screen, you can take a screenshot of this, or you can even take a picture of the QR code that I have here on the screen for you now. And if you're listening to this in audio only, I want to make sure that you're able to get the free food guide as well. And it is at autismcheatsheet.com. So autismcheatsheet.com. It'll give you, again, my free food guide with the top 7 foods really to avoid, foods that you know are healthy foods that you can have, but then also giving you a picky eaters food guide and some links to some resources, powdered resources, because I know a lot of children won't eat even solid food, some of them. So powdered resources that you can even mix in a little smoothie or in water that will get some nutrition into them now, so that it helps to heal their gut, helps to heal the brain, and starts getting them some of the health that they need. So autismcheatsheet.com. And this is how I start working with parents. And if you get this, my free guide, you also have the opportunity there to be added to my mailing list. And you could unsubscribe at any time if you chose to. But if you also want to be knowing how I help parents with the 4 stages, then you'll be offered resources that I have for my membership program once you get the free food guide, just so you know that, because I don't want to leave you hanging. You might be really eager to hear more of what I have to share and how I walk parents through this process in these 4 stages. And I do that in a membership program that I have. So when you're getting the food guide, that'll add you to my mailing list, and then you'll be able to be offered more resources and information like that as well. So I hope this has been helpful. If you didn't get the free food guide yet, go to autismcheatsheet.com, grab the free food guide now, and it's available to you at any time. And I'm going to stop my screen share now, and I'm going to go on to seeing if there are any questions. We have a few minutes for some Q&A. If anybody has any questions at all, you can pop them in there, and then chat will let me know what you have asked, if there's anything in there. But I hope that this has been helpful for you. Um, she says, wait, there are more questions. Oh, there are no more questions right now. Okay, great. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. I know it's a lot of information, and I tried to get through it quickly because we just had a little bit of time here. But at this point, my hope is that you now have the knowledge of what really needs to happen for your child and how to get them healthier and how to work through their symptoms that are how they get labeled with autism, because autism is just a diagnosis, and that diagnosis has to come from a group of symptoms, which are many that I went through here today, and that whoever diagnosed your child says your child has these symptoms. Well, what if we work with those underlying symptoms? Then if we work with those underlying symptoms, then with those root causes, then those symptoms can reduce and even disappear, as they did for my son. I have had tremendous success worldwide with thousands of parents with this program that I teach, and I want you to know that there is hope for your child. They can have a better life, and I really hope that this has been helpful and supportive and encouraging and inspiring for you. And please share these resources with others that you know on the autism journey, because there are many parents out there struggling like we are, or like I was once as well. And it's why I'm doing what I'm doing, to share the resources that have taken me 19 years to research and share them with you, so you can have a more streamlined road to recovery, and hopefully, really get the optimum results for your child so they can live their best life possible. If you didn't get my food guide yet, again, one more time, it's at autismcheatsheet.com. So I will end it here for you today. Again, I hope that this has been helpful for you, and thank you so much for being here. Take care and have a great evening or a great day. Chat saying thank you. You're very, very welcome. My pleasure.